You think you're making a choice right now, but up to 90% of what you do, what you think, and how you feel today is running on autopilot. It's a pretty wild thought, isn't it? That most of your life is just governed by these pre-programmed scripts that you didn't even consciously write. But what if you could become the programmer? Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to pull back the curtain on the three-part neurological cycle that controls your day. And more importantly, we'll show you how to hack it, not just to change a bad habit, but to fundamentally seize control of your future. Just let that sink in for a second. 9 out of every 10 things you do today, the way you automatically grab your phone the second your eyes open in the morning, the specific route you drive to work without even thinking about a single turn. Or maybe it's the way you react with a specific emotion, like frustration or anxiety, when a certain person speaks. These aren't really conscious decisions you're making in the moment. No, they're deeply wired neurological reflexes, practiced and perfected over years. And this isn't some self-help theory, it's a biological fact, backed by decades of neuroscience. Truly getting this, really accepting that you're not always in the driver's seat, is the first and honestly the most important step to changing anything. All right, so here's our game plan, our roadmap from understanding to mastery. First, we're gonna explore why your brain is so obsessed with this whole autopilot system to begin with, and the reason might surprise you. Then we'll decode the simple, kind of elegant three-part loop that runs every single habit you have, good or bad. We'll uncover the real engine behind it all, this surprising force that's way more powerful than any reward. And then we get to the good stuff, the actual tools. We'll learn the golden rule of change and open up your personal re-engineering toolkit. And finally, and this is the big one, we'll completely reframe how you see yourself, not as a victim of your habits, but as their deliberate, powerful architect. Okay, let's dive right in, because this all starts with a feeling I think we all know way too well. That frustrating, soul-crushing feeling of being stuck. You know you should go to the gym. You know you should stop procrastinating on that big project. You might even desperately want to do it. But day after day, you find yourself doing the exact opposite, almost like you're just a passenger in your own body. So why does that happen? What is this invisible force that seems to have more say over our actions than we do? Here is the crucial and honestly, the most liberating idea we're going to talk about. This internal fight is not a moral failing. It is not a sign that you're weak or that you just lack willpower. It's a feature, not a bug, of your brain's operating system. See, your brain's number one priority of pretty much everything else is efficiency. It is obsessed with saving energy. Think of your conscious mind like a smartphone battery. Every single deliberate choice you make, what to wear, what to eat, how to word that email, it drains that battery. It's incredibly expensive, metabolically speaking. So, to keep you running all day, your brain, in its infinite wisdom, came up with a brilliant shortcut: habits. It just automates common tasks to free up that precious mental energy for new stuff. So, if willpower isn't the muscle we need to be flexing harder, then what's actually running the show? What's the mechanism that takes over when our conscious mind isn't looking? Well, the answer lies in this fascinating division of labor between two totally different parts of your brain. Okay, so on one side, you've got the prefrontal cortex. This is the newest part of your brain, evolutionarily speaking. Think of it like the CEO in the fancy corner office. It's in charge of all the high-level stuff: complex planning, setting long-term goals, making careful, rational decisions. It's what lets you dream about your future and work towards it. It's incredibly powerful, but it's also slow, it gets tired really easily, and it eats up a massive amount of your daily energy. Then, on the other side, deep in the primitive core of your brain, you have the basal ganglia. This is the factory floor, the quiet, efficient, tireless engine room. It doesn't make new decisions, it just runs stored programs. These scripts we call habits. It's lightning fast, totally automatic, and uses almost no energy at all. So every single time you do something over and over, your brain sees an opportunity to save energy by handing that task off from the overworked CEO in the prefrontal cortex to the automated factory floor of the basal ganglia. And that is the neurological reason you feel stuck. Your conscious CEO wants one thing, but your energy-saving autopilot has a completely different, deeply ingrained program already running. So let's get into the mechanics of this thing. We are now going to pull back the curtain on the exact system the basal ganglia uses to run these programs. It's not random at all. It's a super precise 3-step neurological algorithm that scientists have mapped out. And once you see this map, this secret architecture of your own daily life, you can never unsee it. This is the absolute key to understanding why you do what you do. Every single habit, no exceptions, starts with a cue. This is the trigger, the starting pistol that tells your brain, okay, stop thinking, time to run the check your phone program. Now, cues can be almost anything, but they usually fall into 5 main buckets. It could be a location. You walk into the kitchen, and bam, you're opening the fridge. A time of day, that 3 p.m. slump hits, and you're craving sugar. An emotional state, feeling bored or anxious, is a huge cue to seek distraction. Other people, just seeing a certain friend might cue you to want a drink. Or even a preceding action, finishing a meal cues you to want a cigarette. The cue is the gateway. It's the exact moment your basal ganglia grabs the steering wheel from your conscious mind. So once that cue is triggered, the routine just fires off automatically, almost instantly. This is the part of the habit we're most aware of. It's the behavior itself. It might be a physical routine, like biting your nails or grabbing that cookie. It could be a mental routine, like immediately starting to worry about something in the future. Or it could be an emotional routine, like lashing out in frustration when you feel criticized. This is the action we often regret, right? It's the one you wish you could stop, but it just feels completely irresistible once that starting pistol has gone off. Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting. The final piece of this puzzle is the reward. This is what happens after the routine that sends a signal back to your brain saying, hey, that worked, that solved the problem. Let's make sure we remember this whole sequence for next time. But here's the thing, the reward isn't always about pure pleasure. More often than not, the reward is actually a feeling of relief. The cookie gives you a quick sugar burst to fight the 3 p.m. slump. Checking social media gives you a quick distraction from a tough task. Biting your nails gives you a momentary release of nervous energy. This reward is like the neurochemical save button that locks that cue routine connection into a solid, reinforced pathway in your brain. And this slide just lays it all out, the complete self-reinforcing picture. The cue triggers the routine leads to a reward, and that reward tells the brain to strengthen the connection between that specific cue and that specific routine. It's like carving a path in a forest. The first time, it's hard work, but the more you walk it, the wider and deeper that path gets. Over time, this loop becomes so fast, so efficient, so deeply etched into your neural pathways that it's completely automatic. The more you run the loop, the stronger it gets, until the behavior feels less like a choice and more like a compulsion. Now, you might be thinking the reward is the most important part of this whole loop, right? That it's the part that drives the whole process. But that's not quite right. To find the real engine, the true force that makes habits so incredibly powerful and so hard to break, we need to look at what's happening in your brain before the reward even shows up. This is the aha moment that changes the entire game. Groundbreaking research from places like MIT discovered something absolutely mind-blowing when they looked inside the brain during this loop. They measured levels of the neurotransmitter dopamine, which is often misunderstood as just the pleasure molecule. And what they found was that the biggest spike in dopamine doesn't happen when you get the reward. It happens the moment your brain recognizes the cue. Your brain unleashes this flood of dopamine in anticipation of the reward to come. And that anticipatory spike is what we feel as a powerful craving, an urge, an itch that just has to be scratched. This is the key. You don't do the habit for the reward itself. You do it to satisfy the intense dopamine-fueled craving that the cue just lit on fire. This chart just makes this whole counterintuitive idea so clear. Just look at the bar on the left. That's the huge dopamine spike that happens the second the cue is triggered. That is the neurological craving. That is the command to run the routine. Now look at the bar on the right. That's the dopamine level when the reward actually arrives. It's way smaller. The anticipation is so much more potent than the actual pleasure of the reward. And this explains so much of our irrational behavior, right? It's why you can scroll through your phone for 20 minutes and still feel kind of blah. The action wasn't about the reward of finding something cool. It was about satisfying that intense craving for distraction that was triggered the moment you felt bored. So let's see how this all connects, because once you get that the loop is powered by a craving for a specific reward, you suddenly have a massive strategic advantage. You can finally stop trying to fight your own brain with brute force willpower, which is a fight you will almost always lose, and you can start working with its fundamental design. This knowledge unlocks a simple, totally elegant, and scientifically proven principle for re-engineering any habit you want. Okay, so here's the crucial point. You almost never successfully get rid of a bad habit by just stopping it. That neural pathway is already carved into your brain. Trying to ignore it is like trying to ignore a superhighway. Instead, you transform it. The golden rule of habit change is so simple but unbelievably powerful. Keep the old cue, deliver the same reward your brain is craving, but consciously stick a new, better routine in the middle. You don't ignore the cue and you don't try to deny the craving. Instead, you hijack the existing superhighway and just build a new exit ramp that leads to a much better destination. Let's look at a super practical example. Here's the old loop. The cue is feeling anxious or overwhelmed at work. The automatic routine is to pick up your phone and start doom scrolling. The reward your brain wants is a quick mental distraction, a moment of relief from that anxiety. Now, using the golden rule, we build a new loop. The cue is exactly the same. You feel that familiar wave of anxiety at work. The desired reward is also the same. You still want that feeling of relief. But now, you consciously swap the routine. Instead of grabbing your phone, you take 3 slow, deep breaths. This new routine also delivers the reward of calmness and mental relief. By doing this over and over, you weaken the old neurological pathway and you build up the new one, effectively reprogramming your autopilot. It works for anything. Maybe your cue is finishing dinner, and the reward you crave is that feeling of oral fixation and completion. Instead of smoking a cigarette, you could swap in the routine of chewing a piece of nicotine gum. Same cue, same reward, different routine. Okay, let's get into the practical toolkit. Because knowing the theory is one thing, but real, lasting change only happens when we actually do something. So how do you become a detective of your own mind, diagnose your loops, and start putting these changes into action today? The very first step before you can change a thing is you have to figure out the specific cue that's launching that unwanted habit. You have to isolate the trigger. So for the next few days, whenever you feel the urge to do that bad routine, I want you to just pause and become a scientist of your own behavior. Don't judge yourself, just observe. Pull out a notebook or a note on your phone and jot down the answers to these 5 simple questions. Where am I? What time is it? What's my emotional state? Who else is around me? And what action did I just finish? I promise you, after just a few days of collecting this data, a pattern will jump out at you with total clarity. You'll realize, oh, I only crave that snack at 3 p.m. when I'm feeling bored at my desk. Or I only bite my nails when I'm in a stressful meeting with my boss. That consistent pattern, that's your cue. Once you know your cues, you can use one of the most powerful strategies for behavior change out there. It's called environment engineering, or sometimes choice architecture. And it's amazing because it requires basically 0 willpower in the moment. The whole idea is to just accept that our brains are fundamentally lazy and will always follow the path of least resistance. So you just redesign your environment to make your good habits the easiest possible option. If you want to drink more water, leave a full water bottle right on your desk. An obvious, easy cue. If you want to stop eating junk food, get it out of the house. Make the bad cue invisible or hard to get to. Want to read more? Put a book on your pillow. Want to watch less TV? Unplug it and put the remote in another room. You're just making your desired actions easier and your undesired actions harder. You're designing your world for your future self. And here are just a few simple swaps that follow that golden rule, but with one critical little twist. The new routine should be incredibly small and easy to do, a tiny habit. And why is that? Because it requires almost no energy to get started, so your brain doesn't fight it. If your cue is boredom and you're craving distraction, instead of opening Instagram, your new routine is to simply read 1 page of a book. The barrier is so low, it's easier to just do it. If you crave comfort when you get home, instead of chips, your new routine is to make a cup of herbal tea. Craving relief from sitting all day, instead of scrolling, just do 1 push-up. These tiny swaps deliver a similar reward, and they start to rewrite the program in your basal ganglia, 1 small, successful action at a time. So as we bring all of this together, the really crucial thing to understand is that this knowledge isn't just about changing 1 or 2 bad habits, like eating fewer cookies. It's about a deep, fundamental shift in how you see yourself, your potential, and your ability to consciously create the life you actually want to live. This is the ultimate takeaway, the final reframe. For years, you might have blamed yourself, feeling guilty or ashamed about your lack of motivation or discipline. But now you know the truth. The problem was never a flaw in your character. The problem was your system. You were trying to use the energy-hungry, easily distracted CEO part of your brain to fight a silent, powerful, and ruthlessly efficient automated system in a head-on battle. You were always going to lose. But by understanding the system, the cues, the cravings, the rewards, you can stop fighting it and you can start designing it. You move from being a warrior to being an architect. And this quote just beautifully illustrates the new identity that you can step into, starting right now. You are not defined by your automatic behaviors, good or bad. They are just programs you've installed, consciously or not, over the years. Your true identity, your real power, lies in your role as the architect. You are the one who can observe the system, understand its rules, and intentionally redesign it to build a life that actually lines up with your deepest values and your biggest goals. Your future isn't determined by willpower. It's determined by the systems you design today. So the only real question left is, What will you build?